Hello and welcome back to Teletalk. In this video I wanted to talk about something that I actually get asked a lot, and that's how to get a job in TV. So for those of you who don't know, I actually work in TV. I work for the BBC, and my job is basically to come up with ideas for new TV shows. And a lot of people ask me, there's a lot of people who are really keen to get into TV ask me, how do I get into TV? And unfortunately, there isn't really a single formula for how to get into TV. Based on the people I've worked with, it seems like no two routes are the same. But what I tend to tell people, and I think this is useful, is how I got into TV and what my route was, and hopefully there's something there that people can learn from. So in this video, I'm just going to talk a bit about how I got into TV and advice that I'd give to people who are trying to get into TV themselves. So the way I got into TV, I actually started right at the bottom. I started as a runner in a post-production house. Every day I was just making teas and coffees and making toast and getting lunches and dinners for the editors working in a post-production house, which is where a bunch of TV shows are edited. And while it felt like it wasn't particularly useful just making teas and coffees, I didn't feel like I was learning anything. It was actually quite useful to make contacts. You know, there were hundreds of suites and it was a good opportunity for me to meet people. While I was working as a runner, I spent a lot of my lunchtimes hanging out with the people in the machine room, which is basically where all the technical side of post-production is happening. And I spend my lunchtimes in there just learning from them, you know, how you ingest footage, how you transcode footage. And by doing this, I amassed all this knowledge of working in tech. So after finding out that my contract wouldn't be extended in the post house as a runner, I started applying to lots of different places, and I just made sure I put as much of that knowledge that I'd sort of gathered from working in the machine room or shadowing the people in the machine room at the top of my CV. And eventually I got a job, and it was basically to help unload boxes. So I was working at this indie, just helping them unload boxes. They were moving from one office to another. But then after doing that for a couple of months, they sort of gave me a chance to start using all this knowledge that I'd gathered in the machine room. They offered to take me on full-time to help out with the tech department. So I ended up doing that for quite a while. I think I was doing that for about a year. And during that time, I was learning to edit. I was editing in my free time, you know, helping them to edit promos and things like that. And then eventually the development team at the company noticed that I was doing lots of these little edits, and they asked me to start editing some tasters for them. And a couple of them got commissioned. And then that sort of made me more of an asset to the development team. And after a while, I slowly transitioned from being just solely tech to being a member of the development team, and I was just working on the taster tapes. And then after a while, I was sort of trusted with doing more and more little bits, like I was writing treatments and I was pitching my own ideas, and eventually that turned into a significant role within the team. So for about 1.5 to 2 years, I was part of the development team at that indie, and when an opportunity came up to apply to work for the BBC, I thought this is my opportunity to go it alone basically and prove to myself that I had what it takes, because the whole time I'd sort of been looked after by the development team there. You know, I owe so much to them, but I always felt like I had to prove to myself that I could go it on my own. So I applied to the BBC and I ended up getting this job, and that's where I am today. I'm still working there, and it's a year later and I'm still working in development. So that was my route into working in TV. And like for a lot of people, I think it just ended up being in the right place at the right time. And it will be different from everyone else's. You know, I started as a runner, I went through post-production, went via tech, and then ended up transitioning into development, which is where I want to work. But I know other people that started as work experience or started as an apprentice. I know people that learned to edit and then went in as an editor. I know people that started as a shooter and then went in as a shooter. You know, there are so many different routes to getting in. But what I learned from mine was just making sure that you're always seen to be keen to learn more. That's the biggest thing that I learned trying to get into TV, and the biggest advice I'd give to anyone is make it clear to everyone that you're keen to learn, keen to help, keen to keep trying new things, because you'd be surprised how many people do not put the work in, do not put the effort in, and also are seen to not put the effort in. There was one runner that I worked with in the past that would put his headphones on when he didn't want anyone to talk to him and would just sit there with his headphones on, so that he was unavailable to the world. By showing that you're closed off to the world, you're sort of presenting this image of someone that's just turning up, doing the job, going home, and that's never going to help you progress. People would kill to get opportunities to work at some of the biggest channels and indies in the country, and if you're seen to not appreciate that, then they're just going to take someone who does. So yeah, I think show how hard you're willing to work, show that you're passionate, show that you're enthusiastic, and also as you go along try and gather skills. You know, I learned the tech side of stuff and that helped me massively. I learned to edit, I've learned to shoot, and by gathering these skills you're becoming more valuable to a potential employer. But yeah, hopefully this is of some use to people that are interested in getting into TV. Like I said, there's no direct route into TV, there's no set route, every single path is different, and it's just about making your own path, I guess. Give this a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, leave a comment below and I'll answer any questions, and subscribe if you haven't already. Okay, well, I'll see you later. Goodbye.